Okay, babies. All right, pre-cal, welcome to your first video of the year. I just want to start out by telling you that I'm just going to go through the parent functions in this video, and I'm going to try to keep it nice and short so you're not too overwhelmed. But I want to talk to you about the 8 basic parent functions that we're going to address in this unit. So the first one is the constant function, of course, and it is signified by this equation right here, f of x equals 0, and that would just go right through here. This is the parent, but if we were to transform this and change it in some way, let's say I wanted to know what f of x equals 3 was. Well, we would just go up here to 3, and that would be f of x equals 3. But the parent is f of x equals 0. And then, of course, we have the parent function for a linear function, which is f of x equals x, which is pretty standard, all right? And I'm not going to talk about all of these characteristics for each of these, but you need to know them. Most of these should be review for you, and as we go through our notes in the first unit, I will explain some of these things that may be unfamiliar to you. Probably end behavior might be new for you, but that is coming in a later video. So I'm going to upload this for you, this video, and you'll have all of the information on the parent functions, but I'm also going to upload a blank set for you to practice on, because you do need to know all of the 8 basic parent functions we'll talk about, and you also need to know all of this information about each one of them. Most of the information is kind of intuitive. For instance, if you can draw the quadratic formula, which most of you can, it's just f of x equals x squared. It's just our parabola right here. So let's talk about what I mean by the characteristics being intuitive. Well, it's easy to remember where the x and y intercepts are right here at 0, 0. The domain, remember, represents all of the x values. Well, since I've got this positive going forever on the positive side of x going on forever and the negative side of x going on forever, that's going to be all the domain. You can also use the symbol for all real numbers here. You don't have to put it in this notation. The range for the parent, since it starts right here at the origin and just goes up, we're only concerned with the range at 0 and then on to infinity. Remember, this is the y-axis, this is the x-axis. All right, so some of the things are pretty, intuitive, pretty obvious to you, and we'll talk more about those as we move through. And then, of course, we have the cubic function, and it's f of x equals x cubed. Again, it's got characteristics. We know what the graph looks like. We have a table here of ordered pairs that form it. And then as we're moving through, we have the reciprocal function, and it's the one usually that trips people up because nobody likes fractions. So f of x equals 1 over x. And then, of course, we have the absolute value function. Don't forget, when you're writing the equation, we're going to deal with absolute value bars. All right, and now as we move through here, we have the square root function. Now, the square root function is unique because of the fact that it just deals with positive values right here, because the parent is f of x, of course, equals the square root of x. And we know that one of our rules from algebra is that we can only take the square root of a positive number. We can't take a square root of a negative. So that's why it's just existing in quadrant 1 right here. Okay, and then of course we move on to this one. This is a brand new function for you. You probably don't know what it is. It is called the greatest integer function, so you will see me abbreviating it as GIF. And of course, it looks like it's got absolute value here, but these are little brackets with lines in them, so it does look a little bit different. And it's our stair-step function, okay? But I want you to notice these little open-ended circles at the end, Okay, that indicates that those values don't exist right there. So this one's a little tricky, and we're going to talk more about it as we move through our notes. But I just wanted to kind of give you a heads up about the 8 parent functions that we're going to talk about. So you will need to know these. You'll need to know how to graph them, and you'll also need to know all of the characteristics. And again, it's much easier. I know it looks like a lot of data right now, but it's much easier when you get started studying them. Enjoy!